All right, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a pretty wild claim from the crypto world. We're talking about a supposed secret method that lets you buy the stablecoin USDT for way, way below its $1 value. So, is it a genius trick, or is it just too good to be true? Let's dig in.
So here's the central puzzle, right? A stable coin like USDT, it's pegged to the US dollar. That means it should always be worth around 90 rupees. So how on earth could anyone sell it for 82 rupees and not lose their shirt? I mean, on the surface, that just sounds completely impossible.
Our source material even calls this whole thing a type of magic. It claims it's used by a very select few to control a massive chunk of the market. Now that is a bold statement. So how do they supposedly pull off this trick? Okay, first things first, let's really get our heads around this USDT price puzzle. We need to understand why getting a discount like this is so unbelievable in the first place. Okay, so get this. The source says that normally trying to get even a 1 rupee discount on USDT is super, super tough. And yet somehow a handful of sellers can apparently slash the price way lower, all the way down to 82 rupees. That just shows you how extraordinary and maybe a little suspicious this whole thing really is. So the big question is, how is this even possible? Well, according to the source, the secret is something called the apparent ICO method. So what in the world is an apparent ICO? Well, the source defines it as a process where you apparently set up an initial coin offering, but its only purpose is to sell USDT at a huge discount. Now, that word apparently is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. It's a huge hint that this is not your standard public ICO. The whole thing really boils down to a three-step process. First, you apparently create the ICO. Second, you get your hands on a very specific USDT variant. And third, you swap that variant for the main regular USDT. We're going to need to break down that second step because that seems to be where the real secret is hiding. All right, and this brings us to the key ingredient, the secret sauce of this entire operation, a supposed variant of USDT called NTW2W USDT. So what is this stuff? The source actually breaks down the name for us. NT stands for non-trifling. Basically, it's for big, high-gain trades, not small-time profits. W2W means wallet to wallet for deals done off the major exchanges. But here's the real kicker. It comes without a price lock. That means its value can actually change, which could let your profit grow over time. And this really shows you what it's supposedly for. The idea is, if you're stuck making tiny profits on regular USDT trades, you could swap for this NTW2W variant and try to turn it into a much bigger gain. It's basically positioned as a profit amplifier. Okay, so we've covered the theory. Now it's time for the most important part. Let's actually look at the profit-making formula and see if the numbers really add up. So let's get down to brass tacks. How does the math actually work here, according to the source? This is where we see the claim get put into a real-world example. Okay, let's walk through this table together. Step 1. You buy one NTW2W USDT for 100 rupees. Step 2. You just wait a couple of days. Now here's where the magic happens. Step 3. You swap that one coin for main USDT at a 1-to-2 ratio. That means your single 100 rupee coin just got you 2 main USDT. Which brings us to the punchline in step 4. Your actual cost per USDT just dropped to only 50 rupees. 50. And this chart just makes it crystal clear. If your cost is only 50 rupees per USDT, and you turn around and sell it for 80, which is still a massive discount from the market price of 90, you're making a clean profit of 30 rupees on every single coin. You can see how that would scale up fast. But just when it's all starting to sound a little too good to be true, the story takes a really sharp turn. The source itself issues what it calls a $1 million warning. The source flat out says, quote, "It's a very high-gain $1 million business." So they're setting the stage for just how high the stakes are, both the potential rewards and the potential risks. I mean, on paper, it sounds almost easy, right? So what's the catch? Why isn't everybody doing this? And here it is, a direct warning from the source. Make sure that you don't play around with this unless you have proper guidance or knowledge. Wow. Okay, so that's a huge red flag. This is clearly not something you should just try at home. And just to really hammer the point home, the source finishes by saying that to become a seasoned USDC seller with this method, you need extensive practice. So this isn't some simple trick. It's being sold as a high-level skill with a really, really steep learning curve.
And all of that leaves us with one last and I think pretty important question. Whenever a method like this promises these massive gains, but then says you need proper guidance, what's the real cost of that guidance? What are the true risks involved here? Is it a genuine secret for experts, or is it just a clever trap for everyone else? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.